Ayo, what it is, y'all? Let's get right into it. It's a beautiful day today. I'll tell you the other reasons later. But reason number one, we get to talk about Hexblast Mines. This build has been fucking fantastic to me, as per usual. That's why I was so excited about it before the league, of course, and from my time playing it last league as well. And so I'm bringing it forward. This version is fairly high investment, at least in terms of raw money put into it. I will let you know now ahead of time. The mage blood that you see in the footage is literally just for show, basically. All you really have to do is fix your resistances to like get away from the mage blood. You might want to get one cast speed roll somewhere to count for something else that I'll talk about later. But I am a huge fan of using mage blood on a build like this just because it's for speed. The most important thing about this build in Sanctum is speed. And you're going to find that this character has excessive damage at every turn. There's so many upgrades I can still make that get your damage going, and it's not necessary at all. Yeah, you can invest in defenses if you want. You can invest in speed if you want. You can invest in a ton of other things that have nothing to do with your damage because the damage is so damn high on this character no matter what. And that's kind of the beauty of this character and why I love it so much. You get to do so many things besides stress about your damage. Now, before we get into it, let's talk about reason number two real quick, which is, look, y'all got me like 1K subs yesterday, and I'm over the fucking moon. Like the shock from it is still kind of settling in. It's still quite a moment for me, and so thank you guys so much for getting me there. You know, glad to be of service. Genuinely, so glad I've been able to reach so many people. Let's keep it going. That said, of course, you know, like, comment, subscribe. You know, it supports me, but more importantly, it gets the video out there, which is the number one thing that I care about. Just getting my messages to more people that need it. And as a result of that, you know how the deal goes. Also, the subscription helps you out because you'll actually get to know when I'm posting more on the channel. Right now, talk about the build, because I talked about this build having excessive damage, which I think everybody kind of already knows. Like, if you're looking into Hexblast Mines, it's definitely because you've heard that it has excessive damage. You've heard that the build does insane things in the Sanctum, and you're like, ooh, I got to get my hands on some of that. And so, in that same vein, then it also means that you might have too much damage. A lot of the builds that are the best for Sanctum do so much damage that Lycia gets removed before she can do anything of value. My damage is not quite high enough where I would say go do a no-hit run on it, but it's explicitly because I stopped investing in damage. I could easily like triple or quadruple my damage if I wanted to. I just don't want to, right? That's a very nice thing to be able to say. Not every build has the luxury of saying that they don't want more damage. I wanted other things. I wanted speed. I wanted to save money and plunge it into a dagger, for fuck's sake. Like, there's a lot of things I could do with that money instead, right? And so how the skill gets there, I mean, it has incredible base damages. Mine supports are extremely broken, right? You know, the Hexblast has incredible base damages that are offset by its unwieldy cast time. Combine that with the throwing speed override from high impact mine to make it be thrown significantly faster. Add in minefield support and other really broken supports. Add in a couple other, you know, good items on the side, like Sandstorm Visage, taking its base crit from 4% to what I believe mine is at, like 11 something, maybe even 12 something base crit. And then add on the charge stacking and the throwing speed and the pen and the res shred, and it all comes together in a character that does way too much damage way too easily. And so then we get to make some moves. And so let's talk about some of the moves. One, the most common recommended chess piece for this build at the moment, including my own guide from before the league started, is Restless Ward. The chess piece is incredible. It gives you movement speed and life regen per charges that you have, which I'm going to spend a little bit of time here gassing up the life regen. This is like, I think, the stat that mattered more to me when I played the character last league. Not having that regen from Restless Ward definitely feels a little off. I've been able to offset this problem, but it is something that is very noticeable to me the second time through. And the reason I don't have it is because I don't actually need it for Sanctum. I'm not investing in, say, like, I'm not out here doing like RF shenanigans to like pad my damage further, right? So I don't need the regen for that, and I shouldn't be taking damage, so I don't need the regen for that either. So what do I need the regen for? So you're like, okay, well, the movement speed, right? 24% MS sounds pretty good. Okay, it does sound pretty good. not 17 Divine's good, which is what it was looking like when I was going to upgrade from my +2 AoE Tabby to a Restless Ward. I wasn't about to pay 17 div for that. Fuck that. What we ended up paying for instead is Victario's Influence, a chest that I'm very familiar with on mine characters because of my time spent playing Icicle Mines. I have played a ton of Icicle Mines, so much so I think it was played 3 times by me in Tota. Even like I really, really like Icicle Mines, and that build makes even better use of Victario's Influence. But the important thing about why I use it is for the socketed gems have increased reservation efficiency line on it. It has an unbelievable reservation efficiency at 45%, and then it's very easily double corrupted. Like people double corrupt that thing all the time, so it's very easy and quick to pick up a +2 AoE at 45% damage one, as opposed to paying I think it was 1.5 div for that chest as opposed to literally 17 div for the time. And the only real difference that I was going to feel was 21% MS. But I'm not scaling movement speed as my primary movement stat anyways, so it's not actually that big of a deal to me. The slower your character is, or the fact that you can't do this, actually funny enough, the way that I move is better the slower your character is. So let's talk about it. You're seeing it in the footage. You've been seeing it. If you've been on my stream, you probably already know about this, but lightning warp is how we move. Regular movement speed is still useful for certain parts of certain rooms and stuff, right, etc. Like, I'm not going to tell you that movement speed is pointless. This isn't a ditch the movement speed on your boots now. No, that is stupid advice. But movement speed is a little less important for traversal of rooms to me because I don't have giga movement speed. You need a certain level of movement speed that even with the mage blood, I don't actually quite have on this character, to ignore the fact that you can actually just go so much faster with well put together lightning warp. And I'm not even going that hard on it. I just have a 4-link lightning warp faster casting, less duration, split affliction setup to really like get the skill feeling good. And then that plus a boosted onslaught flash, which again, you can find other sources of onslaught, or again, cast speed roll on a wand or something if you're really feeling it. Because again, your damage is so excessive that that's what makes it feel good. That's what makes my movement look so insane. That's what you're seeing in the footage. Just pew, 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 quickly scouting between rooms at a rate that again, you can't really walk at. Lightning warp is a very underrated movement skill. This build has more than enough sockets to make use of it. Definitely check it out. We pair it with Frostblink obviously for like boss dodging and little spot dodges or interrupting our throwing sequence to move, but otherwise, lightning warp, fantastic skill. It's another one of just those concessions that we make. And then the rest of the character from here is like the standard power dynamic that I go for, you know, stuff like making sure we do in fact have a balance of terror or whether on hit, etc. Those are the two major things that I wanted to talk about in terms of like what this character is good for. So recapping real quick before we go over to in-game and then to POB, so I can show you guys the like little fine things before we wrap up the video. Remember, you have way too much damage on this character. Like if you were doing most content in the game and you find yourself going, I don't have enough damage, it's only because you're looking for a certain kill time on something, or you have drastically fucked up something on this character, genuinely. Like if you are not doing like 40-60% deli T17s farming some wild shit, and did you think you don't have enough damage, you've done something wrong. Because this character does an absurd amount of damage at pretty much all investment levels, and relative to all of its investment levels, and on the top end, it's definitely one of the best scaling builds in the game. Now, let's go in game. We'll talk some more about some of these details. All right, so level 98 character that I've been chilling in Sanctum with. That's how we got there. All right, first of all, I need to point this out because if somebody goes and listens to my POV, they're going to scream. I am not ascended, and it is because it hasn't been relevant to my character. I did do the campaign. It just wasn't relevant to my character to like pick an ascendancy because they are both survivability ascendancies. For what it's worth, if anybody's curious, I would take Heartstopper. It's what I originally planned on, but it's not because of my original reasoning. But it's everything to do with this chess piece. Victario's Influence does not actually provide all that much in terms of anything with Escape Artist. This realization when I was like Icicle Mines a couple leaks back is actually how I came to the idea of using Heartstopper. And since I'm in a Vix Influence, we definitely would put on Heartstopper here. All right, now that I've addressed the stupid elephant in the room, let's talk tree first. Everything in here is extremely standard. It is just enough reservation efficiency to fit everything in. My reservation efficiency looks different than most characters because of the fact that I'm using Vix Influence. Usually, if you're not using Influence and you are playing double cluster, you are likely going to have to sacrifice some of the nodes on your tree in order to get like a 2 or 3 passive reservation efficiency cluster, which may or may not also include the Zealotry notable on it. Cannot remember its name for the life of me. And that's how you get it done. I also have little stuff like this mana node here, which you might think this mana node looks a little weird, but without it, my mana just starts to get really cramped. Like, it is super cramped right here. You can see how bad it is when I can't afford to do that. So, you know, we take the one extra thing here, and now I can, like, I get a little bit closer to full throwing. Still need the mana flask to, like, properly overthrow. Unfortunately, because they nerfed down the things that you can do with Mage Blood around that department, it's what it is. We have Ghost Dance still, and honestly, I could get rid of it, but like, it's nice. It exists. It's useful. Otherwise, again, standard tree, double clusters. I have 1 spell damage, 1 for mana regen rate, and I honestly could have gone for a second one for that, but I said I wanted the damage, and most importantly, the cast speed from Unholy Grace. Remember, I talked about Lightning Warp. How you make Lightning Warp work for you is that you get your Frenzy charges, and you have, like, sources of cast speed. That's, like, really the big thing. Let me demonstrate some Lightning Warp for you real quick, right? So, Lightning Warp, if you've never actually played with this skill, there's one big thing that keeps people from touching the skill. Let me just take off this stuff. You see that delay in the time between when I click the spot and when I move there? Yeah, that's the duration of the skill. And while, now, luckily, the gem naturally downscales its duration with levels. That's why I have a 2120. You can go 2123 for more cast speed. But if you start adding on duration supports, it becomes basically instant. Like, this duration is short enough you wouldn't even actually, like, you wouldn't really be able to tell it's happening for the most part, right? Like, it is a very, very fast ability. You actually cast faster than you can even, like, get it to queue. So we scale cast speed to make this happen. Noteworthy, taking off faster casting makes it a little bit slower, but it's still good. And funnily enough, that's the same amount of cast speed that I'm getting from this silver flask, or roughly. Like, it's, they got my, like, this is 39%. Onslaught is 20% at base, and then I have about, what, 90% effect, like 93% effect. So it's about 36% or something here as well. If I take off the Onslaught, still the same speed. And that's why I'm saying, like, the Mage Blood is nice, but it's not really necessary for anything that I'm doing besides fixing my resistances. Because the core of the stuff here is my movement is handled by Lightning Warp. I walk around faster, and that's really nice for, like, you know, getting, like, loot out of the gold, the chest rooms and whatnot. But the star of my zoning is definitely just Lightning Warp. Otherwise, again, gear things. Videos are, I know videos are up for how to craft this wand and this amulet. Worth noting, the amulet is, of course, on the budget side of things because I genuinely just did not need the damage. Therefore, I did not craft this further. I was like, this is good enough. I'm pretty happy with this, especially because going ham, I would have to figure out the strength thing or hope I hit. Or I would have had to do something annoying like get a Lethal Pride down here and pretend that Lethal Pride is particularly useful when I'm not taking Inveterate. Because I'm not taking Inveterate, and you might be like, why you're not taking it? Because I'm in Sanctum. I don't need suppression. If you're not in Sanctum and you're running maps, obviously suppression is a lot more valuable. But I'm in Sanctum. We don't need that shit. This is one of those moments where sometimes, you know, the best build on paper for other places might not be the best build for what you're doing. Make your decisions based on what you're running. I'm running Sanctum. Like, I can cut certain things and certain amenities as I need in favor of other things that matter more to me. You know, getting more damage nodes, getting more cast speed nodes, making sure my reservations fit, making sure I can, like, blink around on Lightning Warp, right? Like, you get to make these concessions because I'm in Sanctum. Relatedly, this wand, since I'm only really doing Sanctum, this should have been like an Omen wand or a Prophecy wand instead of an Accumulator wand, is what it is. I thought I was going to play, I wanted to do it on Accumulator because I didn't get to do it on an Accumulator the last time I played the character because we had Enduring Cry on Call to Arms support. Now it's on Auto Exertion, and that costs extra mana. We can't afford that. So getting it this way is a little bit better to me. And then their gear stuff is like fairly standard. Wrist ring, you know, temple gloves, which I bought the suffixes as they were. It cost me a little bit of pretty money. To do anything fancy with these, you have to usually fracture them, and I was not about to be trying to gamble for fractures. Not at this stage in the investment. The goal was to get this character to make some quick bucks and play my favorite content in the game while I start working on the next project. which in case you're curious what the next project is, before I go over to the POB, it involves this little thing here. Yep, that's it. All right, POB time, and then we wrap out. Where is my POB? There is my POB. So, in the POB, I'm talking about, like, you can see the absurd amount of damage. This is the 20 mines loaded, by the way. This is like for preloads. I just wanted to see how much damage I was really putting out in a preload situation. It's a lot. That was my answer. Then, you know, 5 is usually what you're going to see in most situations, maybe 7. Again, still a lot. Most of the time, like, even on Balance of Terror runs, like, see, it just gets turbo folded. Even with, like, negatives, like, I don't see her do Bathe in Blood, which means my damage threshold has been met. The only threshold I have for Alessia is literally she does not do I will bathe this world. Like, if she starts the voice line I will bathe this world in blood, it's okay. If I actually have to do the intermission, we have a problem. And I don't do the intermission, therefore there are no problems. You can see in the tree, you've seen, again, like, I would click Heartstopper. You're going to get this POB where it says click Heartstopper. Then you'll see, you know, Light of Meeting here for cast damage, which, don't overpay for this. It's not an insane jewel or anything. Like, a throwing speed jewel would feel pretty good here as well, but this is a really nice and comfy position for it, so we have it there. Clusters, again, 2 largest. The mediums are all gorilla attacks to surprise sabotage. Otherwise, a lot of this is fairly standard and according to the original plan as we're pushing shared speed. Again, reminder, lightning warp setup, lightning warp setup, lightning warp setup. This thing is insane. Try to get it if you want to go really hard on it, by the way. 2123 on less duration support does get this to 61% less, which is like a decent decrease in the duration of it, just to really, like, I send it home. I just have a 2020. And then you'll see here, like, if I show you, by the way, like, how much this really matters. Let's look at lightning warp. Its duration in here is literally like 0.1, like 0.15 times its usual duration. For some reason, it's not actually recorded in here, is it? It's weird that it's not, but, like, we're at, like, under 1/6 of its normal duration. And for example, if I just even took off the Swift Affliction, like, we'd still at 0.2. So we want to stack that negative duration and make it really quick. It feels fantastic having it stacked up that way. Alrighty. I think that covers everything. Also, oh, I did have one more thing to talk about reservations. I did, again, not really going to cover the basis of the curse setups. You know, if you're watching this video in particular, I expect you to be, like, looking for how to go further on the character, because the video from before the leak definitely does a lot more justice with talking about how to invest in the character initially. This is about going further and beyond. And one of those things is that in Sanctum, I run Zealotry, but I am capable of switching to Grace when I want to, like, actually play the game. Like, that is a swap that I'm capable of making. I do it when I need to go run invitations for gold. That's right. I get my gold from invitations, baby. We love it here. And then Vitality and Clarity on Arrogance. Clarity low level just to help me sustain my mana a little bit better. Vitality to sustain my life for when it does matter, because it had to come up a couple of times. It's just comfy. So that stuff there. If you want to go a little bit harder, you can, like, figure out how to preserve more life and then click on Pan 2 minutes to get a ton more damage. Not really a thing that I needed because, again, I don't need damage. And then Detonation Mines Automation, one of the most ridiculous things, and definitely what still makes this archetype so ridiculous. It's just, you know, if you should try this out. All right, that's everything. I don't think there's too much in here to talk about. The config is pretty standard. You can just, like, literally copy this if you want. Balance of Terror will get you to 15 stacks. That's everything here. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments, or you can hop in the Discord or the Twitch chat. Any of the following, really. Links to the Discord and Twitch in the description down below. I stream in the evenings, not every day, so don't be in there like, why isn't he streaming today? Not a guarantee that I stream on any given day, but I have been streaming very, like, consistently this league. It's just I need to make sure I have my rest time right. But otherwise, you know, come join the Discord, come hang out with the peoples. Support the video. Thank you guys for supporting me so far. Like, again, like I said, genuinely 100 videos in, 1,000 subscribers. I'm fucking ecstatic. It doesn't sound as blatant right now because it's early and I already did my processing yesterday when I saw it happen, but I genuinely am so appreciative of it happening. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys for watching. Glad I could be of service. See you guys in the next one. Peace.